everyone, Krista Moser here. Today I thought I'd show you my latest pattern. This is called Heart Candy. Now I've made it as a baby quilt and you can see in a couple different colors. And the best part about this pattern is you can use your scraps. I've also actually got a pillow and a table runner with this same block. So I'm going to teach you how to do the block, show you how to use your scraps up in different shades of pinks, and then we'll talk about the different layouts and other uses. So what I've done here is I actually had a collection of fat quarters and just cut some narrow strips from those and then sewed them together. So I've got 4 kind of narrow strips from an old fat quarter pack that I had used some of, so it was kind of leftovers. And I just graded my pinks kind of in neutral, very sweet, pale shades together. The idea is that you would get a lot of variety and use up a lot of maybe something you already have without after adding anything more than just a background. So I've sewn my strips together and I pressed the seams open. This makes for a really flat block when you go to do the rest of the assembly process. So laying a ruler on this and cutting will be no big deal because those seams are all pressed open, and I went ahead and used some spray starch to really make sure they stay put. Now I'm using the Creative Grid 60-degree diamond mini ruler, and I'm going to show you a new shape to cut with it. So I'm going to lay my ruler on the strips just like this, tilting off to the side. So I've got the flat edges on both sides of the strip set, and I'm just going to cut some diamond shapes. Trim this off. And from each of these fat quarter length strips, I'm going to get about 3 cuts. If you're doing more scraps that are much smaller, you can get by with cutting from a strip set that's just about 8 inches. That's about the smallest you can get one of these blocks from. So that gets me some hearts, or what will be a heart, going that way. Now I have another one, and I'm actually going to cut it the other way. It's kind of nice to see some variety. So if you look, I don't know if you can see it, but some of these strips go this way, and some go this way, and some go straight up and down. And I just kind of did that by alternating my cuts. And I'll show you how to get even more variety here in the next step. So I'm turning the ruler this direction, and I'm just going to cut this one, going off the other way. And save all those little ends and scraps because I'll talk about something else to do with those. Okay, the last block. All right, so these diamonds are going different directions. Now you don't have to do that. You can go all one direction, but if you want some variety or just the option to choose, then just do some each direction. Now here, I'm going to take the diamond and I'm going to lay it down, and then I'm going to take my ruler, and the ruler has hexagon lines on it. So it has 1.5 up to 4.5 inch hexagon lines, and those are marked in white dashed lines. So I'm going to use the 4.5 inch hexagon line, and I'm just going to turn the ruler. So my block goes this way, but the ruler goes straight up and down. And I'm going to look for my white dashed hexagon lines on the top and the bottom that nestle in, and then these angles, of course, match there. And I'm just trimming that off. Save these things, because we're going to make another project in next week's blog. I don't know if you know that I do a blog every week, and most weeks I just come up with a little project or tips and tricks, but next week I think I'm going to use those little bits to do another project, so keep those around. The blog is just found at KristaMoser.com too, so you can join it. Alright, so there we are, cutting with the hexagon lines, top and the bottom. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to turn this block and cut the other point off, and I will show you what that does. If you're using a variety of scraps and you want, like in this case, this will be half of the heart, and I've got my dark one out here, or the dark one in this set is kind of out here, and this is very much the same thing, but the dark is up here, so it gives you a different look from the same strip set. It just gives you 2 different looks. So if you kind of want your hearts to be a little on the darker side or the lighter side, you can choose which tip to cut off depending on what fabric. Maybe you have a favorite fabric and you just want to showcase that one. So this, I'm going to cut off this side, and then I think in this case I'll cut off the other side, and that will give me two very different looking half heart units out of the same strip set. I'll cut off this side again. Okay, there's the line. All right, I've got a pile of these done. Now for the other side of the heart. If you notice, one side is pieced and the other side is not pieced. So it's just cut from a full strip that is 4.5 inches wide. So I've got another scrap here, and I think I can get 2 diamonds out of this. So I'm going to lay my ruler on here. Yep. Might just squeeze it out. And just barely. Okay. Now here, I'm going to cut one of the tips off. Cut the other one off of this side. All right, so while these shapes look the same when you look at them this way, you turn them to be a match together and they create a heart. So that's as simple as it is. Now we have to build the background, which is very easy to do with 2 more shapes. Actually, 1 more shape in 2 different sizes. So what I have here is a white background strip that's the smaller of the 2, and I'm going to take the ruler, and now I'm using the triangle lines, and I'm just going to cut triangles this way and then rotate the ruler all the way across my strip. So I've got the flat tip on one side and my line here, and I'm just cutting sets of triangles. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way across the strip. That'll be enough to show. Now my next size, larger strips, and these are going to be bigger triangles. So here I am with this line here in the flat tip, and I'm going to trim that off. And then rotate the ruler again. And continue to do that until they are all cut. But now I'm going to show you how this is assembled. So you saw when we have the 2 halves of the heart here, we're going to take 2 of the smaller triangles and put them on the inside edge. They don't look like they're the right size, but they are. And then we need 2 triangles on the outside edge. And that's the whole block. This is a unit and this is a unit. So you sew these together as separate units, and you don't combine them yet because that would create a Y seam. We actually do that later in final assembly, where you're actually going to do rows like this. So you're going to take this one, tilt it up like this, so your 1/4 inch seam, press that open, and then you put this one down here. And you can use this flat tip by turning it in so you can match it up. That flat tip will give you that perfect little match-up point to give yourself the 1/4 inch, and you'll have a 1/4 inch dog ear out here on the outside edge. So if you turn that flat tip down, that will help you to have a good little match-up point. Of course, you can take the nose of the ruler and flatten the other 3 tips, the other 2 tips, and that would help you no matter what side you wanted to sew it on. But doing this, press that seam open until you have a unit. This is going to be the right side of the heart and the left side of the heart. And then this is how easy it is. So I'm going to put these aside because I've already sewn some of these. I'm going to show you. Here is the way it works. So we are going to do these, and then I alternated. So here's a row, and I've got a solid heart here and a pieced heart here, and the next heart down, I'm doing a pieced heart, and then I'll put a solid half on this side. And then the next row, we'll go back to a solid, so alternating every other one. And you see how it works. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to sew these seams together and press them open, these seams here, creating 2 halves of a row, and then you sew the 2 sides together. So that's how you get a row of hearts here, here, and here, and they create a stagger pattern all the way down. Just as simple as that. No fussy piecing. You don't have to worry about Y seams or anything like that. It's a very simple block to do, and it uses up all your scraps. So what we've done, this is a PDF download, and so we've got a link in the description for the pattern only. If you already have the ruler, then you can get the pattern only, but we've also done a bundle. So if you don't have the ruler and you've been looking for a reason to get one, we've bundled it with the pattern and you'll get free shipping on the ruler. So you'll download the PDF and you can print it off at home, and we'll send you the ruler with free shipping. And then, like I said, watch for the blog next week where I use these little scraps to make something else, and let's just use up your scraps. I hope you found something inspiring here. Thanks for watching. Okay, and I totally forgot to mention, after I told you there was a pillow and a table runner, I forgot to show it to you. So here is the pillow. You can see it's 5 hearts. It's 4 whole ones, and then 1/2 gets split between the two sides. So we've got a pillow in the layout instructions, and we also have a table runner too, which is actually what the pieces I'm working on here will become. So I'll post pictures of that soon. And if you want to know how to quilt these too, I get a lot of questions about the quilting that I do, a lot of straight line stuff. If you'll notice, I don't know if you can really see it, but the quilting I did on both of these is pretty much straight line. It's very easy to do on your domestic machine, just a back and forth kind of a serpentine line. I did post some close-up pictures of that on Instagram, so you can go there and see what I did with the quilting, if that would help. Okay, see you guys soon.